Welcome back, everyone, to, well, more Farming Sim. Gonna do a little cleanup today. This tree has been bugging me since day one. Apparently it's all red. Unless it's just, no, it's just all red. There we go. So what we're doing is we're doing a big cleanup is basically it. We're cutting down a bunch of trees here, but we're going to replant a bunch. Like, I mean, once we get rid of the stumps and that, I'll probably replant a section of this to hay. Trees inside the yard, like all of these inside here, they're staying. This poor bugger doesn't have any trees. So we're going to get rid of all the trees in the center, but we're going to plant a bunch here. I think basically from the side of the garage here all the way out, we're going to plant a bunch of trees there, and then right along here, right before the road, where all these bushes are, we're going to plant a bunch of trees in here. Because I'm not taking out the bushes. I'm not going to be swathing bushes here. So this whole area here, we're going to plant into new trees. Like, basically on the side of it. So, don't think for a second that I'm a typical farmer, that all I'm going to do is bulldoze trees and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Because I'm not, actually. I am... Can I drop the tree? There we go. We are taking this actually quite seriously. We are cutting down the trees that we think we need to. Actually, we're gonna cut down this one too. There we go. I'm just gonna cut down all the trees that I think I need to right now. And then yeah, we're gonna replant them. I'm not a monster. I just doing this for, well, betterment of stuff. Making our lives easier is basically it. Alright, so that's all done. I do want to take out one more tree here. And then we can just start chewing through it. Yeah, so these ones from this one on are going to stay. This one's going to be cut down. See if I can hop on this tree here. Go there, I did not want to it roll. That might actually just fit right in there. Let's find out. Let's actually... Let's move production lines here. Alright, let's... Like I said, I gotta come back with the whatchamajigwicker later. Alright, so let's set this up here. It is empty, right? Yes. Oh, okay. Is good. I mean, I could just take the wood up there and sell the wood, but the wood chips are actually profitable. I mean, we made almost 24,000 off the first load, right? And I couldn't resist. Like, I mean, yes, we're trying to save up money for a very large purchase and whatnot, but I also need a certain amount. I think that might be close enough. I need a certain amount of stuff, right? So I'm thinking, move you out of the way again. Move! Move! Okay. Because I'm running low on hay. I know that. So we gotta do something with our hay production, right? So I'm just gonna feed this bugger right up here and just keep feeding, because we'll get this all cleaned up. That's basically it. I think I can actually just put the whole trunk in, but we'll see about that one. Got one more branch here. Apparently I also have one more right there. Well, that one launched to the moon. No idea where the hell it is. We'll find it again. Oh, is this it? This might be it. It's damn and determined that it ain't going in there. Alright, 1.1 tons. How possibly bad could this be? Well, that's rapidly going up. There we go. I think that's pretty much it right here. I'm kind of thinking that we are not close enough. Okay. It says I can start overloading, so we can load it up as much as we can. Now we might have to take this load down and over. Oh, it just. Alright. You know what? I was gonna keep that one, but it's kind of a loner in a spot that doesn't make any sense, so I think I might cut that one down too. Alright, let's grab the truck, let's haul this to the plant. So out of the 160,000, oops, was on the 160,000 that we've taken so far. Get this bale off here too. I know a few of you were probably thinking, well, shit, you should buy 76 and then you could just go straight through. It might be an option. I mean, right now this place is kind of sort of a moot point, but realistically, I kind of don't want to. I'm not doing any pine trees per se. $6,500. So yeah, we're gonna haul this up And then we'll come back, drop. Well, hang on. Let's drop the bale off while we're here. It'll take much more than 2 seconds to drop this off. And yes, I've got the ultimate cheaty strength on. It's handy. Wet grass, yeah, that thing would be about easy ton and a half. Alright, let's head out here. Let's burn down to get rid of the wood chips. This might be another 23,000. Hey, if we're averaging around 24,000 for it for easy calculation, should be able to hop my own tracks here. Yeah, there we go. If we say do 24,000 a pop, we have at least one more truckload, maybe two. That's going to be 48,000 right here, right now. If we get another truckload, we're sitting at another 4 onto 8. That's 262. That's about 62,000 out of the 160 that we bought it for. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's actually not bad. And then we also need to think about if our chicken price is around that 2,000 mark to sell some chicken breasts, the frozen meat, because then all of a sudden we're looking at quite a good profit off that one. That's about 8,000 a pallet. If we can sell 4 or 5 pallets, well, there we go. The feedlot cattle specifically are just for meat packing. That's all they are. The milk is the milk. That's a secondary thing. I wanted a big milk barn, so. Alright, these wood chips are actually worth something, so. I mean, we're down. Our numbers are badly down. Could do a couple of these, but. Price tags. Yeah, we're sitting at 500,000 down, which is a lot. It's been a bad month. Pretty close. I can't really do any harvesting for the hay because it's raining. It's supposed to stop raining, so we get this worked on. I might just chew the stumps out for now and then come back later and reseed it in that. I believe my cows are getting into form of production right now. They're actually... No, they're not. They're ways away. The Holsteins are getting closer. These guys are going into puberty. These guys are getting close again. We might have some lamb coming in pretty soon, which wouldn't be bad. Meat production, we're down quite a bit, but oh yeah, when it's also nice outside, I gotta remember I gotta spray that one field. Boing. This one does not bounce anywhere near as much as the other truck. I like this old truck. I'm thinking probably with a Cummins badge and everything, that this thing would be rock solid huge. So yeah, we'll plant a bunch of trees here. That's not a problem. I'm just going to go ahead like this and these trees aren't terribly large, so I think I can get away with just doing it like this. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Let's try taking off all these limbs and see where we sit. Small limb. This should just go in. Alright, let's see if we can. For whatever reason, we cannot hit those ones. Alright. We just gotta sort of feed it in just right. Guess we will have to trim the other ones. Okay, it's jiggly gyrating. Alright, looks like I gotta. Okay, those two branches came off. Okay, that's progress. Yeah, that's definitely progress. This might get them. Got that one. Okay. See if we can get this guy to the point where it might be able to process. So how do I learn from this episode? Okay, block it. It don't need much. It just needs just that little bit of extra gumption to get past that tree branch. Alright, let's try this side. Nope. Alright. Okay. This is a very big oak tree, but it's big enough that it's being a pain. I get the tiniest of sticks to go in. Never mind. I have the tiniest of stick to fling it over here. Excuse me. I appear to have welded it into the ground. It's no longer with us. Alright. Do you go in now? Yes, there we go. Problem solved. Excuse me, can you just, I don't know, fall in naturally? There you go. there's lots of bits on this guy that I think are going to cause problems here. Okay, I think that's better. Oh, I found my stick. Okay, that took like 30 seconds. Alright. What we got? Do we got anything left for there? No. Right. Got anything for here? What is this bullshit gonna be like here? Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Sure, let's do something like that. Sure, we'll just get rid of it. I do not know how full this thing is now. Ah, we still got lots of room. We've got lots of room. Well, that is if maybe I can, I don't know, manage to get it in the right spot. But this stuff doesn't equate to much. Excuse me. Like this might be a leader, a chip, if that. I didn't even hear it go bzzzt. I feel like the new guy that's packing leaves into it, going, I'm cleaning up. Well, are you? Are you sure you are? Okay, there's another one here. There it is. Oh, not another one. 78. We got lots. This one, on the other hand, this elm should just fit right in. Because the branches should fall down into it, right? Or launch and do something funky. All it needs to do is go down once. There we go. Yep, that piece is gone. That piece is gone. There we go. It's not terribly heavy, so. There we go. Pieces are going in. Well, they were going in. Okay, it's in a new form or dimension. Oh, another oak tree. You know what? We are going to do this. We are just going to pick this tree up and we're going to put it in as much as we can and deal with it after. Because that actually cleaned up that. Cool, we deleted the thing. Okay, this stuff's old. pretty small stuff. Oh, this one's still attached. That's the problem. Okay. $10,000. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna pick it up, and we're gonna dump this guy in the trailer. Then we just have the stumps to clean up. Okay, am I close enough, or do I have to unfold? Maybe I could drag the other ones closer. Okay, we're a lot more lined up. Let's. Okay, that's a lot tighter. That's better. Okay, I think it started it up again. Oh, I'd only have one more load then. There you go. Well, that didn't work. That did though. Can I? Apparently not. Trying to get the branch underneath. I guess I could just throw that in the trailer afterwards. We only have a couple trees left to clean up, and then we can haul her out of here, and we can shred the stuff and keep going after the rest of it. What the hell are you doing, you little bastard brush? Go in there. There we go. Cleaned up. Done. Then we'll plant a pile of trees. See how much of that gets. One. Okay, that should be everything off that. It's not a very big oak tree, so didn't particularly have that much. But yeah, that's about it for here. Even that chunk of wood, what I'll do is I'll just okay, that branch should be just sitting here now. There we go. Shouldn't have to have it unfolded to dump. Oh, I do not. Well, there, we made back some cash on the cleaning up of the trees that we wanted to do. This guy I can haul back. We'll haul that one down in a second. That's probably, we're only going to get another 10 to 15,000. So we're looking at about 58 to 62 range anyways, not the 72 that I was thinking originally, but those other trees weren't very big. Yeah, I'm just going to delete that branch. That's that's the rock pick. Well, that's a lot bigger than you think. We're just gonna move this over to here. Alright, we'll go grab the chipper, which should be over on the other farm. Then we can clean that up. Once that's cleaned up, oh yeah, we got tons more brush around. So what I might do for that is I might just haul it for wood. Be honest with you, I probably could have just hauled all the other stuff too. What do we got? Probably my storage shed here that I think it should be where it is. Well, the planter's here. I am not seeing, however. I wonder if I even still have it. Oh, well, we came all this way anyways, we might as well grab it. Alright, let's take a gander at stuff here. I've had some things that are 27 months old. Tarot guess. The other way to look at it is this. owned items. Okay, that's just that. Well, that's the least items that's left. Okay. Owned items. That would also be in forestry, I would imagine. Yeah, I don't have a shred anymore. Well, I can drive this back over there. We'll have to go buy some stuff. We'll probably put it all, like, we'll haul this stuff up. Could maybe pick this stuff up and put it in the trailer too, because I don't think the trailer's overly that full. We will have to move that so we can do this. Yeah, we only have 52%, so we have room to pick up the other crap. Nope, car will not stop. Okay. That's exactly why I wanted you to go past. But no, nope, nope. You're extra special. I really think people like this are actually possible in this world. Okay, didn't want to hit my equipment and bounce it, but seeing how that guy's too stupid to figure it out. Alright, where's that brush? The first one's here. There we go. Okay. There we go. I found a couple pieces there. A block here. Must have hit at one point. Moved all this crap. I think that's actually poking through the trailer, not the other way around. Because I did have to cut one tree out of the way to make this work. How did I get it all? Or is there still a branch? Nope, I got it all. Okay. So we'll buy a stump grinder. We'll buy a couple pallets of trees that we can replant. See, all my trees that I did there actually look really good. Even the tree line I did around my house looks really good. You go plant oak or elm around the other guy. But then that way it cleans that up nice. I'm coming in this way a little bit because it's easier for me to hop out of the truck and sell the wood first. Yeah, it was only 300. But still, I got rid of it. The wood chips are worth more. Just would have been a lot quicker with the wood, that's all. Still 1,200. Plus we cleaned up the yard, so that's a positive. Alright, so we want forestry, right? I think I did have one of these ones. I think I did. Okay, now let's go pallets. I think it's in the pallets, right? Yeah. General tree saplings. That'll be it. It's spruce, pine, stone pine, birch, oak, willow, maple, dogwood, hickory, American elm. Ooh, yeah, we got tons, right? Cypress. Let's go with maple. Let's go with one with maple and one with oak. That way you get a better possibilities. Alright, now I just gotta walk next door and grab the forklift. That way we can put their new unit in the back And we can put our pallets and everything in the back. Or on the truck. We can do it on the truck too. This thing beetles along too, so. Oops, missed my mark. Can't pick it up from that way. It can pick it up this way, I just gotta center it more. And that way I don't need a load or anything to get it off. Turn. Okay, change plans. The pallets will go into the trailer. This is going on the truck. Sure how to get off the truck, but we'll figure that part out once we get there. Doesn't matter which one we get, as long as we get some trees planted in there again. I mean, that works. I'll just pick these up by hand. They're not very heavy. Once we get back, it's just this guy is zooming around. Load me up. Yeah, not good, very good forklift operator, I can tell you that much. There we go. Right, so I just need to So ramp in. Guess it's attached. Not falling off, so. Frickin' awkwardly heavy though. Hey, my truck sit down weird. Definitely making my truck sit down on one side. Actually, technically speaking, that should have shredded the tires. But hey, let's not nitpick, right? Alright. Let's zoom out to about here. Oh yeah, let's do the ratchets off. Alright, let's try this. I think it's better on the back end. All I did was level it off on the front. I think it did actually have one of these ones. Tell me which episode it was that I had one of these. Okay, leveled it. Okay, that one's done. Cool. Those ones are done. And yes, I did spend more money on this again, but one stump gone. Yep, that's another one. one's cleared out. This one still needs to be touched up. Oh, we missed one right here. There we go. See if we can just put it right on the trailer here. Oh. Could if I took this in. There we go. Nor should you ever think about putting your tractor on tiny little ramps like that. That would not work. Okay, let's refill. That one doesn't tell me which one it is. Okay, that's the oak. I want to sort of plant the oak right along here. There's one. Two. Three. 4. Yeah, remember there's 20 trees in here. 5. 6. 'That was plant a bunch all the way along here. Alright, so as long as I have a couple left over for the other side here. Yep, I wanted to do that. I wanted to make sure of that. That might actually be enough, but I'm not sure. Let's grab a couple of the maple trees anyways. Yep, there's a maple tree. We won't use all of them here. Actually got quite a few trees that are already sticked and planted here. We'll plant one nice one right there. There's one there. So let's plant one there. And yes, it is kind of at random. So there we go. All open, nice and neat and clear. At the same time, there's a bunch more trees planted. I didn't want to leave that guy with just a pile of barren space after we cut all of his trees down. I'm going to plant this inside. Alright, how expensive this is going to be to fuel up and fix before we do some swathing. $8,000 to repair. That's actually not bad. That's better than it normally is. Alright, this is a barren field, so we also burn through here. Yep, don't mind me, just zooming along here. I was zooming along so good that I actually missed the corner. Well, there's a sprayer that I need to use to go down around the other part. This thing needs maintenance as well. I don't think we've gained any other contracts yet. We could do 21 and 22. That would give us... So let's just do that. Same guy. We'll swath both. They're silage bales. We could quickly go do that. We'll swath mine. Then we can quickly go do that one. And then from there... we can do the silage bales. That should, besides that being $40,000, that should actually be, that's pretty close to 40,000. That should be bloody on on par for the leftovers being to pay for this bad month. Well, maybe not fully, but we should get a couple, maybe 100,000 at least. Maybe not a couple hundred, but it'd be nice if we got a couple hundred. An extra 80,000 would go a long way. Would too in real life. There we are, just boat home. Canada probably would have been in hindsight quicker, just put on a truck and haul it, but there once upon a time was a road right here. I got rid of it, and then I basically, this was roadway for the railway, which actually would have been pretty nice, but I couldn't make the corner. So it's kind of like a lost railway at this point. Yeah, 20,000. We knew it was going to cost a penny. Okay, these guys are not in the way. This guy is. Alright. Cycle back through all of them. Sooner or later I should find a swather. How about right there? I will start from here and go that way. And then I will haul the unit down and we will swath the other one. Actually feels pretty bloody good to get some of this cut. Why, you say? Because I desperately need the hay. Frickin' cows are just wolfing it down. I gotta worry about that little part out in front. Okay, cut across. Said I'm not worried about the front yard. They got a whole pile of new trees planted, so. They're not really close to the outside edge, but these 2 extra fields make a difference, so. Just straight hay bales. I'll be able to drive through this pretty quick. Alright, now that we took out the one little spruce tree, I can actually get a lot closer and do this better. Now I can just do this. Still gets caught. I like the little spruce trees, but they're a pain in the ass. Kind of mowing his lawn here. Again, pretty decent sized frickin' swather to be doing this. Should have went back with the smaller header, but nope, went with the big guy. Oh well, we're not doing too bad with it. See, this one I had before, it's the next 2 that I didn't. But being able to just swath right through without hitting the trees, that's huge. And we did plant a pile more, so hopefully in a couple of months we might see something about it. A little bit today, we actually got the some of the brushing done, except that apparently we have found some more. We got it though. And yeah, so we can haul this guy, once I get this swath, we can haul it down to 21 and 22, and we can get his field swathed. Yeah, it's looking good. that's looking better. So for the spot that I just missed. Kid, I'm still learning the ropes with this thing. Pop it right in the middle, that way I'm not gooning from both sides here. There we go. That section's all done. You know what I might do with this? So we were so close on this one as it is. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight across here, pick up that section, then clean that one up. After on my way back. Yeah, so we can get 21, 22 swath. That won't take long. Take longer to get there than it'll actually take to do it. Get some extra cash going. And then tonight, hopefully, if the puppy cooperates or whatnot, we will be streaming more Bannerlords. So be sure to check that out. And yes, we are going to try to hold a jilting. I don't know what kind of luck we're going to have with the jilting, but we're going to try to hold out, you could say. I mean, we do have a decent army count, but if something comes rolling through that has like 1,200 soldiers, yeah, we're not going to survive it. There's just no way. But I'm hoping. Hey, look at that. Why didn't that not work? That works just beautifully. So yeah, in other news, the girlfriend and I, as many may know or may not know, the girlfriend has fully moved in. We are living together, and honestly, it's been fantastic. Just for somebody supportive in my life that is there for me is just absolutely mind-bogglingly huge. I honestly, after Mom passed away, it literally felt like there was nothing else left in the world. Like everything just died with her, and she showed her true colors. Like we were friends already at that point. That was not an issue. We were good friends. We were basically best friends before we ever became part of the world of dating. We were good friends, and she stood by me the entire time. Like she said, not an issue. What you need, I'm there for you. And that showed a lot. And then she got a job up here, although she hates the job. Loves the people, but hates the job. Don't blame it, because she is actually a laborer, and she's not laborer material, if that makes any sense. She even admits it. She goes like, this isn't really my cup of tea. This isn't what I, went to school for and everything else, which is true. It's not. Um, so yeah, no, she is looking for something different. Hopefully, if we can keep looking, like she can work at this one till she decides that she found something better. And I mean, the pay for this one is not great. Could you just fucking get out of my way? Alright, gonna hit you. Drive over, drive over, drive over. Bonk. And now I'm stuck. Can I hit you with enough speed to just... There we go. I was taking that with me again. But then, of course, an opportunity presented itself again, and we took it. And that was, of course, the little bombshell of a puppy that is currently sleeping outside my door right now. He is... They said he was 3 months old, but I don't think he is, only because what 3-month-old puppy has molars, adult molars. Not that I've ever seen. And I've had a couple dogs over the years. Again, being the fact that I'm like 9 years older than the girlfriend, so I've been around the bush a bit longer. Anyways, so pup has actually a lot of adult teeth. He's got 2, 3 of the back molars already. The front canines are adult teeth. All of his front teeth are adult teeth. So he's actually, doing pretty good in that regards. The first few days of having him, his teeth were killing him, and we did everything we could possibly think of to help with his mouth situation. But now I think he's finally settling in. He's not so chompy. Well, he is, but you can train him and say no. Then he stops and looks at you like, well, why'd you say no? It's like, don't chew everything. We got specific toys for you and specific things that you can chew. So here, try these. And actually, it's doing really good. Started training him with his crate. Started training him to sit, lay down. He's actually really good with his food. If you say sit and you give him a command for sit, he'll sit, he'll wait, and then as soon as you say, okay, go in, then he'll go in and eat. It's not bad for a week of training so far. Body training side, it's going to be a little bit longer yet. He still has... He makes issues once in a while. But he's a toddler. Accidents are going to happen. Fuck's sakes, I have accidents once in a while. And I'm not a toddler. Well, some days I think I am, but... And me, I'm still doing the grindstone, trying to build contacts again, try to build new links, rebuild my company after the other issue with the employee went out, which is a shame because, I mean, he was a good guy, and yeah, we had a full falling out. It was like he expected more than I could ever give, and to be honest with you, I can't deal with that shit. And then I haven't been working for a couple months, so there's no way I'm going to keep a guy on if I can't afford to pay myself, let alone... Well, I can't afford to pay myself, but I can't afford to pay him either, so... Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Now, I'm going to actually do the back 21 before I do 22. That's my idea. Work my way from the longest part forward and then go from there. So yeah, these are both silage, so all I have to do is once I get mine done, drop the baler, pick up the other baler, drop the tedder, and away we go. So it's been an interesting few months, but I can't say anything bad about it. The girlfriend has been my rock, and I've been hers. We're actually, I really hate to say it, and I don't know if I necessarily believe it myself, about the whole soulmates thing, but I would have to say she is probably as close to a soulmate as one could ever get. Like honest, uh yeah, no, everything about her, I there's nothing to complain about. I know someday she probably wants to kill me, but it's like, oh god, you had all day, you could have just done this. It's like, yeah, well, you do know I do other things during the day. The one thing though, one thing that I really want to do soon is, I actually looked today in the shop, and I actually have enough material to do it, and that's do a new closet organizer for her. She has a lot more clothes than I do, and I think it would be a nice gesture, anyways, for her if I could build a new closet organizer for us. I mean, it's for me too. It's not just her, but a lot of it is her. I think that would be a kind of a nice little gift, especially if I'm not really working that much lately. I could probably, do that one nice gesture at least, and try to do that. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I'm right on the edge. Maximum effort. So yeah, no, I'm gonna try to do that after the stream. That's what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna take Puppo to, if I can wake him. Take Puppo to go up to the bathroom. Then I think I'll start working in the shop. I know exactly what to do. I measured it once, and it's like roughly, okay, it's like 44 and then 42 and off the shelf there, and I need to do two of them. I'll just build it up. A shelf will go in like this. Yeah, I can do this. I can knock this out of the park. I probably, to be perfectly honest with everyone, I could probably get the damn thing built today. A couple of coats of paint on it by next, well, depending if that job comes in. I am quoting and doing a job for a buddy of mine. Oops. Working on for a buddy of mine, anyways, and whatnot, and that'd be a nice job. Fortunately, it's replumbing the entire house, but there's a thing in Canada called Polybee, and they did it in their early 90s. It was, well, late 80s, early 90s. Anyways, it's basically supposedly the replacement to copper, right? And this is pre-PEX. Although I've had my fair share of problems with PEX now, too. It's the same crap. It's plastic. Plastic doesn't last. So yeah, we're quoting for it because the Poly B is pinholing across the house in its condition of sale. So, yeah, we're buddy of mine says, hey, got this house and it for it to sell, we need to do some plumbing. And it's like, well, why would you hire a plumber to do it? And he goes, because plumbers typically know what they're doing. I went, yeah, so does most contractors. And he told me the one quote they did. Holy crap, I almost fell over backwards. And that's just to do the plumbing. It was just to do the plumbing. It wasn't, oh, well, if we have to do an access panel here to move it up or stuff like that. It's like, no, it was just the plumbing. It wasn't anything to do with the fixing. And I went, did you have a heart attack when you looked at this price? And he goes, a little bit, yes. And I went, I can see why. And he goes, so can you and your uncle do a better price? And it's like, yeah. I mean, even without screwing ourselves, we could probably half it. It'd still be coming out ahead by a long shot. And the way they did the original plumbing too just sucks. At least the basement, they have access and they have room for it. So I'm building a price right now so I could do a manifold in the basement for the water lines for hot and cold, and bring it off from there. And not doing a copper T. Copper T on Depex doesn't work. And I personally would replumb the entire house in copper. However, that's not an option, unfortunately, because the lines are plastic. But it's better to do the conversion plastic to plastic rather than trying to do copper to it. I mean, you can, but this way is better. And I say that because some places I can't even get at right now with it is the way it is. So it's like, I'm not gonna take a chainsaw up your log cabin here and redo lines, right? It's like, okay, we can be smart about this. What can we put and do? Well, running PEX is easier to fish than copper lines, so that's what we're doing. And there's a few tricks up my sleeve that I've done over the years, because I've replumbed frickin' houses before, from Poly B to copper or PEX, or again, I prefer copper. Some people like that aqua firm and stuff like that, but honestly, that crap doesn't last very long either. I know they say, oh, it's guaranteed for life. Life of what? The plastic? Because I can tell you for 100% fact, that stuff does not last. I mean, Poly B, if you don't get pinholes within the first 15 years, you're probably good for 20. You won't get much more than 25 out of it. PEX, about the same. They say, oh, well, it's a different, instead of, Poly B, it's more of a polyethylene instead of a whatever the hell it is, polycarbonate. Well, that is true. The PEX is technically considered a better plastic. There's a problem, though. It's kind of a glaring problem in my books. Plastic breaks down with water over time. Basically, it depends on the sediment or what's in the water. Fluoride I found is a good one. Anytime you have treated water from city that contains fluoride, it eats PEX. It also eats the brass fittings, and it's specifically the fluoride in it that does it. And then, of course, if you add salt to it, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. If you have any imperfections in any of the brass fittings, yeah, the salt will eat at it. Whereas copper, it doesn't seem to affect it as much. And I mean, I've worked in houses that were like 100 years old that have original copper sewer lines, for crying out loud, let alone copper lines. You know what? They're still in good shape. believe it or not, it's still in good quality shape. Same with the lead pipe. Even our house, there's still chunks of it connected to the stack that is lead pipe. Am I replacing it? No. And people go, well, it's going to be in the drinking water. No. No, it really doesn't affect it, especially sewer lines. It doesn't. The gray. It doesn't. There's not enough of it to touch it or sit in it for it to actually get poisoning. Like, I've tested our sewer system actually a few years ago because we had environmental guys out that were testing groundwater sampling for popping a new well in, and they tested all local area. There was no lead in the groundwater. Zero. There was a bunch of other things due to fracking and other stuff, but that they said was safe. Which is kind of why I bring in my own water. Kind of like safety first in that regards, because I mean, yeah, that. Well, it's not only safety first. It's like one of the main issues that we found over the years with our waters. We just didn't have a very good refresh rate because the aquifer that we get our water from is so frickin' deep. It's basically sitting on the edge of the coal bed, and what's right above the coal bed is salt brine. That's why the oil field around here has issues. And that's specifically because of the salt brine. It's unfortunate, but it is the honest truth. It has that salt brine sitting on the coal bed. So our water is not very good because it's high sodium. But two, and this is kind of the more important factor to this, is we don't have enough of it. We are sitting on top of a river valley, and the river valley is about 100 feet down total. So if you consider the 100 feet down as a total, well, all of a sudden you start calculating it out and going, okay, well, normal wells and around the area are 200 feet. Not for us, it's about 300, 400 feet. And you drill it, when we did our water cistern back then, it was $100,000. No, it wasn't. Oh, no, it was close to it. All said and done, it would have been about $100,000. It's basically $10,000 per 100 feet, plus the cost for the casing, plus the cost for the drilling, the time for the drilling heads and everything else. Guy said, yeah, no, honestly, put a water cistern in to be cheaper. And I think total wise, all said and done, our water cistern was like $21,000. Yeah, okay, I have to haul water in every month. What do you friggin' do? Well, sometimes we can get away with not hauling water in for like 2-3 days. 2-3 days. No, wrong. 2 or 3 months. Yes, we're burning through 6,000 gallons every 2 or 3 days. No, we're not that bad. It's like 2 or 3 months. 2 or 3 days. Bah. But yeah, no, all total, all said and done, yeah, it was way better. And it was actually the well drillers that said, don't worry about us. Like, I mean, if you want to pay us $100,000 to drill a well that there's no guarantees you'll get water, sure, do it. But it's a waste of money. Do something that works. And we got, like, I mean, our water is beautiful water. So yeah, I'm not worried whatsoever about the water. And I mean, $200 is what it costs for us to haul in a truckload of water, and we get our money's worth, believe me. But it's a whole freaking truckload. It's nice, clean, treated water. It does not contain fluoride. They do not add fluoride to the mix that we get, which is good because our plumbing, it takes it whole. People always say, oh, well, it protects your teeth. Does it? Does it really? You know what it does do? It destroys your plumbing. I've also noticed something too over the years, and it was another plumber that actually mentioned it too. They said anytime there's a sink, you can always tell the difference of what sink people use to wash their or brush their teeth, because the toothpaste that contains fluoride actually eats the ABS over time too. It pits it. That I went, you're full of shit, right? I actually looked at it and looked at the difference and went, holy fuck, he was right. You can literally see the pits in it, and you're going, this is bold. And he goes, yeah. So he says, you know why your drain clogs more often? Is because it's not smooth plastic anymore. It's pitted due to the fluoride. I went, huh. There's something you don't see every day. Well, we are just about done field 21. For swathing, anyways. We'll do 22 and then we'll probably end for now, anyways. Like I said, we do want to stream tonight for Bannerlords, so if anyone's interested in that, be sure to check it out. Lately, we've been trying to stream a little bit earlier so that we can go to bed earlier, because Puppy don't stay up too long. Puppy likes to go to bed early, which is fine. It's fine. I'm not complaining. I have a firm belief he's actually going to be a very good dog when time goes on. And we are creating an Instagram page for the pup and the cat. And of course, as you guys may know, the cat is Fuzz. Fuzz is a very, well, he's a pretty boy, but he's a very, very big cat. And the interactions between these two are hilarious. And if you guys want to check it out, we will be putting a link in the descriptions below shortly, as soon as the page goes up and running. And who doesn't like looking at pets? Cute dog, cute cat, you know, things like that. I know there's been interest in people saying, oh, well, we'd like to see the new pup, and going, you have a cat too? Fuzz took to him like basically glue. The first day it was like, yeah, okay, there's a pup in my house, right? I don't like it, but it's here. Now it's like, smack, come on dog, let's play. Chase me, chase me, chase me. Then when the dog gets confused and doesn't know where the cat is, he pops his head out of the railing going, yo, dog, up here. He really, really does. I don't know. I've never seen a cat behavior quite like this, but it's kind of, to me anyways, I could be wrong in saying this, but to me it kind of looks like he's his big brother, and it's like, okay, well, I'll teach you a few things, do this, do that, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, I do care about you, so. And it's kind of funny because most of the time the dog will actually not chase the cat. It's like, oh yes, there's a kitty, whoop-de-doo, and Fuzz will be looking at it and going, okay, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden it's like, absolutely nothing. Okay, we'll just go our separate ways. And then other times it's like, yo, look at my big bushy tail. You're gonna chase this big bushy tail. And off he goes. And it's like, oh, really? I forgot the one key rule about this big swather. Don't turn the corner when you're slowing down. Why? Because the header is so heavy there's no longer steering. Alright, so we're going to drop that there, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Just clean up this edge. We already got our new field swath. We got 21 swath. 22 is actually, I think 22 is smaller than 21. But I could be wrong. It could just because of the way the shape is. So yeah, there will be an Instagram page shortly of those two. And we found out the other day, I decided we had roasted chicken, right? So I decided to make a roasted chicken sandwich. And, well, Fuzz stands on his hind legs and his paws are up on the counter, and he's looking to see what potentially is coming his way. And the dog's right below him, like, basically the cat is not needing to stand on his head, but they're close. And it's like, okay, cat, what's up there? Looks like he's having chicken. I don't know if you like chicken. I do. I really like chicken. So I'm gonna see if I can swipe some. But it was like the two were working together. It's like, so what's up there? Chicken. That also tells you the size of Fuzz. Fuzz is huge. Like, I'm not saying he's overweight or fat. He is just, well, he's girthy. Of solid frickin' muscle. I don't know. Feeding the cat high protein diet might not have been the greatest idea because, yeah, he's. It looks like he lifts every day. That's what it really looks like. It looks like he's one of those calisthenic bodybuilder types, you know? I know that's two genres, but he's ripped. But he's also he's not a normal small cat either. He's about, I'd say he's good 2 feet or maybe 28 to 30 inches long, and he stands about damn near a foot tall. Like from the back to the floor. Actually, it's probably more than that. I could eat my own words on that one. I think he might actually be more than a foot. He might be 14 inches. It's not a small cat. He's about 22, 23 pounds and like walks like a bulldog. The dog is about 13, 14 pounds. Like when you pick up Lindor versus pick up Fuzz, you can immediately tell the difference. I mean, Lindor's more lanky body, but his weight taller. But pound for pound, he's no. Yeah, I couldn't figure out the other night. I was going, okay, the dog is scared shitless. Literally scared shitless going outside. And I'm going, there's nothing out here. Then I saw a glimpse of something, right? And it was sitting about my height in the trees. And I'm going, that could be a moose, could be a deer, right? Didn't think anything of it. Next night, it's over on the other side by the dumpster. And I'm looking and going, well, that ain't freaking normal. Because it started dawning on me, going, okay, I'm 6'5". I'm looking at whatever this is, basically their eyeballs, right? Like, the hell is 6.5 feet tall? Literally staring at me in my eyeballs. I'm going, okay, question. What is this thing? And it was kind of eerie, too. It's like, okay, you can tell it's staring at you. You have that weird feeling, too. Like something is out there, something is staring at you. And then you hear rustling in the bushes and you're going, we have wolves around here, we do have cougars, sometimes we have bears. Not this time of year, they're usually hibernating unless something like rustles them out. But again, it's like, not sure what this is. The dog's freaking out. So the next day, I'm outside, and all of a sudden his ears perk up and he wants in. Like, now. Not even a question, just now. We're heading inside. We're done. That's it. game over, man. And it's like, okay, well, as soon as we start heading towards the house, I've caught a glimpse of what's 6.5 feet off the ground most days. And yeah, I took one look at it, and it spread its wings and took off, and its wingspan was wider than my long arms. So that would be a great horned owl. And honestly, I'm actually quite proud of the little pup, because he has the survival instincts of, fuck me, that's a big bird, I don't want to be picked up. However, back to Fuzz. Macho Fuzz was watching through the window and saw the bird take off. He basically had the idea of, let me out, I'm going to kick the shit out of it. I told this to my cousin, and he goes, I can see your cat taking a licking to that frickin' owl going, you're staring at my brother, I'm going to beat the crap out of you, man. And I would imagine a 22, 23 pound cat could do some pretty serious damage to a bird that size. Basically along the lines of hold my beer and watch this, because I mean that's Fuzz's attitude with most things. It's like, challenge accepted. Okay, let's do this, right? Let me flex. But at the same time, you pick him up because he's got the dual fur. He's got the undercoat plus the top. He is the softest, fluffiest cat you ever felt. And just honestly a big ball of love. And I'm happy to say Lindor is exactly the same way. Both of them have the mentality of everything is a friend, and I'm going to make sure that I'm friendly towards it first, and if it isn't, then I'll kill it. But after that, it's like, no. If it's friendly, we're friends. No issues. But yeah, even Lindor, he's getting that second coat coming in now. The outside coat's getting a little rough, but he's got a dual undercoat. And as much as I can tell, I know he's a cross of something. The main characteristics are a chocolate lab, so he's gonna be a beautiful dog. He's gonna be a decent sized dog, because a lot of labs are not really that small. He's gonna be a medium large, or large. And then the other aspect to him is I think he's border collie. So problem with that is both of them are extremely smart. They both are very lovable. They're very loyal animals. What the hell happened there? Oh, I see. I hit the edge. See, there's a road there. I think I hit the road and it lifted. I might just swath past and I'll come back and try to hit. Yeah, I can see that because it sort of cut on the edge, but didn't cut all the way. I'll just try to cut back a little bit. Yeah, it lifted. That's exactly what happened. Don't want to lose that good stuff. That might actually equate to an extra bale, right? Somewhere down the line. So yeah, no, both animals have the dual coat. And I already told Fuzz too. I said, he's going to be a big dog. Can you still handle him? And Fuzz looks at me and goes, meow. Like, pfft, yeah. Says, who cares, right? One of the main reasons, I know the girlfriend has always wanted a dog. She's never had one, always wanted one. Never had the opportunity to have one. So now she has one. Um, I wanted a dog not for having a dog. I wanted a dog for a security device. Um, Crime around here has been ticking up over the years. I've seen it. I mean, knock on wood, we've been lucky, right? But we have our lane is a quarter mile long. Nobody can see the house, so you drive in the lane, and all of a sudden you see somebody standing there going with a shotgun, polishing, and going, "Well, have you met my good friend Bertha? She doesn't like strangers." Yeah. So people typically don't challenge that aspect. So I would still, for me, anyways, it's peace of mind more than anything else. To have something that's always around, sitting outside the doorstep, going, "Well, see here, I don't think my papa wants you here." Let's see if I can try and match sort of lines here. Normally I go up and down, but let's just sort of. I think that's more the line right there. There we go. Yeah, if we're doing both, we might as well do it right, right? Anyway, I really can't complain about. The pup has been really good. He really has. I think he's starting to settle in a bit. But the mystery has been solved. Why he's freaked out. And again, I'm not going to say anything bad. Yes, I want him as a security alarm. Is he scared shitless about the outside right now? Yes. Why? Because he knows he's small. And he's looking at that big bird going, that's a whole lot of nope. And anyone says, well, great horned owl's not that big. Yeah, yes it is. When its wingspan is like 6 feet wide, that is a freaking huge bird. All right, we're over halfway on 22 already. Yeah, these lines have really gotten a lot wider. So in the next episode, we'll be bailing all this stuff for the 40th time. But that's also good because maybe then November isn't looking like it's $500,000 in the hole. Actually meets up with that point really nice. Caught the tire in the soft spot. Sure did. So after the stream, take the pup out, do a little walking again, make sure he's done the bathroom, and I think I'll start working on the girlfriend's project, because I think that's going to be a nice surprise for her, since she is the breadwinner right now. When I'm not working, that's what happens. Now, this has been one of the worst years. Like, I mean, I've seen it year in, year out that, you know, this time of season, it slows down. I know that. It always does, and it always will. Except this year, it's been exceptionally bad. It's almost like there's nowhere near as much money left in the economy, if that makes any sense to anyone. It's just, it seems like people can't afford stuff like they used to, which means all of us businesses are suffering because people aren't spending money. We're not making any. And I mean, it's one of the big stress factors. I mean, even when the government phones you and whatnot, and goes, well, how is the government doing? Can we do this, like a little survey and everything else? And how much more money do you have in your pocket? And it's like, none. I'm basically borderline surviving. Next stage is food bank at this point, right? It's like, well, that can't be. We're doing much better. It's like, well, maybe you are. The rest of the planet isn't. Sorry. They always seem to get hoity-toity and then pissed off with you. It's like, no, that's not happening. Well, why the hell did you phone me then? Just telling you what I frickin' know. Yeah, Field 22 is getting close. I'll do my measurements and whatnot, like actually more fine measurements. So what I got off on this one? Oh, no, I didn't. I'm right on it. Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, it is off a little. Oops. Did it again. Wrong button. I'd go with C, not V. Wish I could get rid of that right now. I don't really need that interface out and about. I do know what I'm doing. Obviously, since I'm working freehand with cab view. I prefer the cab view. I mean, I know I started the game originally with episode 1 on the outside and everything else, but I mean, for the years of going out and helping, I really am off. Oh well, it's not off on the other side, but it is off on this side. Oh well, we'll survive. Just working in a cab of a swather, combine, tractor, and everything else. Like, I mean, I'm a farmhand, basically, right? Do I ever want to do farming myself? No. No, I do not. Why? Can't afford the expense. But 2, don't need the headaches. So, I honestly, I prefer being a farmhand, if anything else. I still get to play with all the fancy equipment. It's just, I don't do anything else. It's kind of funny because I put my name in for a ranch hand out around here because I could do that kind of stuff, right? I'm knowledgeable in it. I've lived on a freaking farm for my whole life. I do know how things work. So I put my name in it saying, well, if business is slow, I could, lend a hand for 3-4 months and get you past the breeding, basically. The calving. Not breeding, but calving. And whatnot. And they went, okay, no problem. The guy's actually literally told me that he's looking for somebody half my age. But he'll pass my knowledge along. All of a sudden, the other night, I got a freaking email from a rancher down south. And he said, hey, if you still looking for something and you don't find it within certain time period, we could really use a guy like you in our area. There's no amenities around here or whatnot, and have you, but if you're interested in it, we could definitely talk and go from there. So I sent him an email and said, well, I'll let you know I got potentially a job coming up here and whatnot, but I could always, after the job's done, sneak out that way, have a chat with you and whatnot. And he says, oh, that'd be perfect. I said, if anything else, if it doesn't work out, I get to sit down with a rancher and have a cup of coffee. And he says, that's a hell of a plan. So in the end, it's still kind of nice. And he says, yeah, we really do need somebody that's like you. And he says, we're willing to pay for a guy like you if you decide to, not do the construction side and you want to do ranching for a little bit. And he says, basically it's permanent. It'd be basically live in at the ranch there, but it's like 1 month in, 1 month out, 1 month in, 1 month out, or the busy seasons. Like right now would be calving. They have a ranch, right? But they also have a grain farm for the ranch, for feed and stuff. So it's like, well, do you know how to do combine work and that? And I said, well, I've driven everything from like your old 710s to your to a more modern, say X9 1100C. I said, I've been around, right? And even a 3520 cockshot. I've done it. He goes, yeah, that'd be perfect. I said, so obviously there's the amenities of live in while I'm down there type stuff and whatnot. And he goes, yep. He says, yeah, there's not a lot of villages around here with a whole lot to do. And I went, I get it. And I said, so long as my pickup truck, there's a place to fill up. And he says, right at the ranch. But that's all I need. But he was offering stupid amounts of money too. Which means if he's offering that kind of money, the way he acted, I'm suspecting they'd need somebody. And he says, yeah, with your experience and knowing what, because we had a good chat by email and stuff, and he says, yeah, no, with your experience and that, he says, it'd be nothing to offer a really reasonable price. And I'm going, man, is it tempting. It would only take like a year or two of doing that I'd be set for a pretty good time. But just got into a relationship. Just got the puppy. Back of my mind, I'm like, it's like I'm starting a family. I don't, yes, I kind of want to do it, and if circumstance was different, I'd probably do it. Like, if I didn't have the girlfriend and didn't have the pup, I would probably have done it without even thinking about it. I would have went, yep. I like money. So yeah, it's like, It's a conversation that I might have to sit down with the girlfriend and say, so I have this opportunity. I've got an email. It's a ranch south of us by a long shot. What are we talking about? Here's the numbers. Here's what he's offering. Because I mean, it is a huge opportunity. And did I ever get crooked? No wonder my lines didn't work. I went crooked. I'll go even more crooked. My tire's stuck in the windrow. You know what, before the stream's over, I know we've been going at it 2 hours. The pup can actually go for about 3-4 hours. So, I'm not streaming for 3 or 4 hours, but I think what I might do is I might actually wander over and I might quickly bail my stuff, get it ready for this stuff, and then we'll see where it takes us. Because I mean, the weather's good right now. We might as well try to make hay when the hay lasts. I'll just finish this piece. Then I'll come back down that line. Even in construction, I've never had an opportunity like this before. It actually kind of, I don't know, it rivals even guys that have like 2 to 3 times more experience than me, and it's like I don't even know. I like the guys. He honestly did say, he says, I know what kind of character you, or what kind of guy you are, and stuff like that. He says, I know you have a business and that, if you want to run it through the business. And I said, well, to be perfectly honest, if I was to do it or that, I would need some sort of assurance, payment ahead of time. And he goes, absolutely, not a problem. And I mean, he was even willing a startup bonus. And it's like, okay, this guy is serious. I'm not just saying it. This guy is actually friggin' serious about it. And I think, well, in my perspective, basically it's like an insurance bond. Guys around here do this all the time. I mean, even my cousins do it. And basically what it is when we say it's an insurance payout, it's like, okay, well, we'll give you like a bonus up front, and it's X amount of money. And if you say after 3 months, if you're still doing good, it's considered a bonus, no refunds, like you don't have to pay it back or anything like that. However, if you don't work out and whatnot, you do have to pay a portion or a good part of it. Oop, I got a phone call coming. Hang on. I didn't even have a chance to hit the be right back screen before I had to go take that call. Anyways, that was the old man. I took him to the airport this morning. He's on his way overseas, and basically that's all you need to know. And yeah, he's supposed to be on the flight by now, and as it turns out, the plane busted, dude. And I guess by the sounds of it, they took off. They found that there's engine problems. They landed again as emergency landing, and then now they're waiting to send him back out. So hopefully he gets going. But yeah, no, at this point he's kind of getting worried that he's going to miss his connection and everything else. It's typical. I mean, for how many miles that man has done in his life, it's at this point it's almost cliche. It really is, because it's like every time he goes anywhere, something doesn't quite work. And it's like years ago, it's like, this is beautiful, everything's perfect, but now it's like, well, how is this gonna fuck up? And he starts saying that way before he even leaves the ground. It's just like, yep, well, we know it's gonna not. Something's not gonna work quite right. Do we take bets on what it is today? And it's like, So he was on the phone going, yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have like a 3-hour delay. But all of a sudden, then I heard on the intercom his name, and it's like, Dad, you better go. And he goes, why? I said, that's your name being called. He goes, oh, okay, well, okay, you better go. I could hear it over the top of the phone because I'm going, fuck, that sounds like his name. It was his name. Yeah, they literally called and going, yeah, some sort of boarding. So maybe he's getting on an earlier flight. The first words out of my mouth is, well, obviously it's the airline. I'm not going to mention which one it is, but obviously there's an airline that is not doing what they're supposed to again. So, you know, I'm going to shoot a message to the girlfriend just to let her know, because she also wants to know what's going on with him and everything too. Like I said before, really good girlfriend. She cares about me. She cares about my family. What really more could I ask for? That is the unit I'm wanting. Well, that didn't refill. Get back there and fill your tanks, you bastard. Oh, that ain't it. There we go. Well, on the plus side, if the airline or airplane was actually busted and them sitting there is probably a better idea than them flying going, that's a new one. Wonder why that's broken. Or wonder why that's blinking. Yeah, seen that before. I'm not entirely sure why that button's blinking. Have you ever seen that before? Is that in our book? Alright. So let's go V, B, G, B, G, VB. Onwards! It's not going to take us long to quickly bail this. That's why I like the unit I'm carrying. And I know for a fact FS25, I don't know if they fixed it recently, but when I originally tested the game, you could not do string lines of equipment like this. And they said, that's because you can't do it in real life. Bullshit. I have done shit like this in real life. You can daisy chain PTO shafts. And it's also kind of the concept of like the big giant air seeders. They specifically told me, well, you can't do that in real life. And I went, alright, I'm going to take a picture of something for you and I'm going to send it to you because, yes, we do. For crying out loud. Like, the cousins. Their freaking unit. They're using a 120-foot Borgo. So you've got the seeder, like your main drill. And then behind that, you got the big air cart. Behind that, you've got a set of harrows usually. That is also 120 foot. Behind that is a liquid fertilizer cart that injects with the supposed soil harrow thing that they use. And it's like, okay, so like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you're dragging behind you. So yeah, no. We do that in real life. So don't tell me otherwise. One of the new ones, though, a neighbor of mine, they've got a bunch of cattle and stuff, and they do a bunch of haying and whatnot, too. They have this new baler. And I have lust in my eyes for this thing. It is a big baler, basically the same size. Where's one of these bales? Oh, we got on a little further with this one. All right. All right. See the size of these? Like, these aren't small bales. These are pretty decent size friggin' bales. It does 2 of them at a time. It poops them out 2 at a time. Like, these are not small bales. It does 2 at a time. So it picks it up. So when you do your windrows, you actually file 2 of these rows in together. And you basically drive on top of it. And it sort of half flattens it. And then this new frickin' giant baler comes along. And it scoops it up. And it does 2 bales at once. Oh, you fuck. Did have to poop it out there, didn't you? Yeah, look at what you did. You know what? Screw it. It's not going to take us any more time. We can frickin' just bale the... Well, it might. We're silage baling those, aren't we? Alright, I guess next Wednesday, if I'm around... because I might as well say this now. With the potential job coming up, I will not be streaming. I will be away from streaming for a few days. Actually, more like a week. If I can get the job done in a week, that would be great. I mean, it's for a friend. I'm doing it for a friend. And I kind of suspect I should be able to do it in about a week. I mean, it's not a huge house. It's not the size of my house, okay? But it is a decent size. Like I would have to say it's probably 2,000 square feet. Not huge, but it's bigger than the average house. It's a log house too. But yeah, if I can do, I kind of worked it out in my head. If I can do it in basically 5-6 days, 6 days at tops, then I should be good. And I mean, it is a... my friend has already said, money no object. So, it would be a decent payday. But still, it'd be half the cost of what the other plumber said. And if there's any drywall or anything, because there is drywall. I mean, yes, it is a log house, but there is interior walls and stuff that have drywall. We we'd be able to get it done. And it would be a damn decent payday. I actually haven't figured it out in my head, but if we say 6 days. So 6. Yeah, I can work with those numbers. Yeah, that's not bad at all. Like I keep telling people, it's like with my work, all my expenses, like, I mean, yes, as a business, you have pretty expensive expenses, but everything can be paid for. Literally everything can be paid for in one job. Like, I mean, changing a light bulb, no, you're not going to make that. But if you, like, the way most of my jobs are, if I worked a week, it pays for the month. So if I have 4 solid weeks of work, 1 week pays for the month's expenses. The other 3 builds up the accounts. That's all it does. And it's like, bam, bam, bam. Now, do I come home and go, okay, I'm basically dead? Yes, pretty much. As a fair point, I'm not as young as I used to be. Oh, it's really funny. So, my boss shows up my ex-boss. We're still really good friends. He was in the area, so he stopped in the other day and popped in for a visit. I mean, the man is in his 70s, right? But he's still working full time. Well, sort of. He's down and out right now because of lack of work, same as me. It's either the weather or lack of work, one of the two. And we're reminiscing on jobs and stuff, right? And he goes, some of the best times I had was in the early 2000s working with you guys. I went, I know, it was a blast. I said, it really, really was a blast. And he goes, yeah. And he says, man, do I miss it. And I said, oh, me too. Every day I miss it. But I'm not a kid too. I mean, in the early 2000s, like the end 90s to the early 2000s, there was a massive boom in the area. And besides, I'll go back to my buddy. But my girlfriend, where she lived is where I used to work. That was one of my stomping grounds. My uncle and I did a bunch of jobs up there. He was working for a company, an outfit there. And so yeah, he was doing some work and stuff in the area, so I tagged along. I mean, I was in my teenage years, but it's like, hey, work is work, right? Money's money. Some money's better than no money. I'm good with this. I'm not gonna, beggars can't be choosers, right? So yeah, I was doing this, and it was like, yeah, I like this. And so I was working with him in the same area. And I swear, like, in my memory banks now, I'm going, for crying out loud, I think my girlfriend that I currently have now, like, remember, we're 9 years difference. I was in my teenage years. She would not have been. She would have been basically, not really a toddler, but I mean, she would have been in her younger years. And it's really kind of funny because we were driving up in the area because she was showing me where her old house was, right? And I was looking and going, oh man, this area is familiar. She goes, well, how? I went, okay, well, up over here, about 6 houses, you turn into this little cul-de-sac. There's 2 houses, 2 cobblestone houses on the right. And she goes, yes, they're still there. And I went, yes, those were the ones that we were working on. She goes, they were being built. I went, right. Those are the ones we were working on. She goes, you were part of the crew with that? I went, yes. And I specifically remember one time, and it's really kind of funny because she even admitted that was probably her, not her sister. But she said, she goes, yeah, we were playing outside. And there was always construction vehicles and everything else that pulled out and, did everything. I said, yeah, one of them would have been a black truck with a topper on the back because it was my uncle's. I had to go get materials. So I drove and went and picked it up, right? And it's like, okay. I specifically remember a pink and yellow ball rolling across the street. I hit the brakes and I stopped and waited for this little girl to come out, pick up the ball, wave at me, and walk away. And she goes, oh my God, I remember that pink and yellow ball. And I went, it was probably you. Weird way of things happening. And I said, that was also the same street that the water main broke, and we couldn't actually go back to the job site. So I came home, and she goes, that's right, there was a water main break. And I went, ah. And I said, so, because it's basically winter outside, right? It was winter then, so we stopped working. My uncle he was still doing the same stuff he was, and he says, well, you might as well go home and go back to school and high school and whatnot. And I was like, yep, okay, no problem. And it was not more than a month later, the guy that was at the doorstep the other day saying hello. Oops, I have not overshot. All right, this is the wrong field. Same guy I went to work for another 3 years. So, but it's just a coincidence of things. It's like, okay, well, I went down there, I was helping as a general contractor and everything else, and he continued on, but it's like, okay, well, I started doing this and this, right? And it's like, yeah, no, I specifically remember because that was my first year having a driver's license, and I was down there helping, and it was like, I almost ran over a kid because I saw the ball and I saw the kid and I stomped on the brakes. Well, what's the odds that it's my future girlfriend? Like, I still, to this day, I cannot believe that could be true. Alright, I gotta be a little bit more careful in this one because I know I'm going to be giving up the ghost here shortly, but for the stream, but we'll. But anyways, yeah, I was talking to my buddy, and he goes, "Yeah, man, I miss the old framing days." I went, "Yeah, me too." I said, "I really miss the old days." That's what I wanted. And yeah, no, we were talking about it and all the stuff and that, and he goes, besides the good old times and stuff, he says, the new guys nowadays don't understand what we used to do. And I said, what, the sketchy crap? And he goes, well, besides the sketchy crap, there was a lot of times that there was stuff that we did that you sure the hell could do these days. I went, oh, hell no. I said, for one, I mean, it's got to be like, I can't even remember, 25 years ago now. It's like, yeah, so we used to down like half dozen beer after work, even with the boss. And it's like, well, we go over what we got done. We went over the plans again. We were discussing ideas of how to do the next day, and we did. It was relaxing, but at the same time, we were still doing business of like, okay, we got to do this step, this step, this step, this step, this step, and everything is in sequence to what we need to do and how we need to do it. And in the end, it always worked, right? Sometimes, I will admit that even though we were drinking a half dozen beer before we departed to go home, the freaking city police would show up and go, "Hey, you guys having a beer?" "Yes, we are." "Okay, we'll have one too." Like, there's no way you could do that nowadays. Nope, missed it again. By much. Just a tiny little one. That's fine. I don't know how many times the city police, and was typically about 3 or 4 individuals. I mean, these guys weren't young. These weren't rookies either. These were top of the food chain type guys. But at the same time, it's like, "Hey, you guys are having a beer?" "Yeah." "Yeah, we're confiscating some. We'll pitch in." "Oh, cool." But at the same time, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, and a lot of people may not understand this, but that was community relations. Yes, they were drinking alcohol on the job, things like that. But at the same time, what were these guys actually frickin' doing? And it was fucking brilliant, alright? What these guys were actually typically doing is they were talking to you one-on-one, having a beer, doesn't matter. They're finding out, like, information like, "Okay, have you guys seen an individual like this?" "Oh, yeah, we saw one the other day. He was walking by." Okay, that's good information. And stuff like that. They were one-on-one, having a drink with us, and finding out information. Now, what did that equate to for us? It means there was less theft on the job sites. There was that stigma of phoning the police when you're in trouble. That's gone, because it's like, "Guy gave me his number. Where's the card? Here's the card. Dip, dip, dip. Hey, we just caught a guy that was stealing yada, yada, yada." "Okay, we'll be right there." It's like, it's those days I miss. And it's the stigma of, all police are bad. No, they're not. I will honestly tell you, most police are not bad. Most of them are just actually normal, everyday people. They get a bad rep. I get that, but yeah, no, we were talking about that, and it's like, I miss those days. And I was telling him about the girlfriend and that, and he goes, "There's 9 years difference between her and you." I went, "Yes." And he goes, "It would be interesting to know one main thing." And I went, "What's that?" "The difference it was in culture. What was normal for us versus what's normal for their generation." And it's been mind-blowing, the massive differences. Like, there's no way in hell you could get away with 98% of the stuff that I got away with, let alone what my parents freaking did. Like, I mean, it was nothing for us to have a couple drinks, do ice lake racing, do a rally. I mean, our rallies were freaking near professional. We had driveways laid, well, not driveways, but roadways laid out. We had police escorts on some of them, if they're main drags. It was all just fun and games, and I mean, there's quite a few of the police that joined in with us too. I remember with one of the ice lake races, there was an RCMP that came out and said, "Hey, I have a burning question for you guys." And he says, "I know there's alcohol involved and everything else." He says, "I don't care. You guys are safe. You're just having fun. You're not on roadways. You're not doing anything too dramatic. It's fine, right?" And a lot of us went, "Yeah, okay. What's your point?" And he goes, "I have a burning question for you guys. I have a bunch of recruits, and none of them know how to drive on ice. Could you teach them for us?" And I was like, "Really?" And a bunch of the other guys were like, "Oh yeah, we'll teach them." That's what we did. I specifically remember there was about 2 or 3 races, and it was like 2 or 3 of us that were racing as normal guys, and they basically, the other 12 or 14 were all recruits learning how to drive on ice, but everything from pursuits to pit maneuvers to Even back then, they were doing pit maneuvers. To brake checks, you name it, we did it for them. And it was like, you know, it really helped the stigma of breaking that police presence. It's like, yeah, guy in uniform, right? But no, it wasn't. It was not like, oh, there's a guy in uniform. It was kind of like, all right, you're gonna learn a few things. Hold my beer and watch this. Because yeah, it was a lot of fun. And unfortunately, I think, and my buddy and I were talking about this, and it was like, you know, one of the main problems with society is it's not politically correct anymore, so we don't do it. It's not safe. There's too many regulations, and whatnot. But at the same time, it's created a whole generation of people that, in this circumstance, don't know how to properly drive on ice, don't know how to properly do a lot of stuff, and the training isn't there. And besides the training isn't there, the reason why the training's not there is because you don't have the people that have the knowledge to do the training. So there's a massive disconnect. And I mean, one of the best things, and it was a blast doing it, because it was like, there was no pressure. It was like, hey, man, it's safe out here. If you fuck up, the worst you're going to do is roll. I know, I did that a few times. But the worst you're going to do is roll, and you're in a full roll cage in a freaking vehicle that's designed for it. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're in a 5-point harness. Like, we did everything accordingly. Like, before there was any regulations, it was like, okay, well, if you're going to do ice lake racing, one, you have to have proper tires. You got to have something that usually might maybe grip a little bit, at least. But you also got to be, like, you have to have some kind of race suit. Whether it's a snow suit or something, you have to have a full gear. Protect your hands, protect your feet, protect your head. A lot of times we even had, I mean, it wasn't like race guarded neck guard or something like that. It was basically, well, we found these pillows that were made for traveling, but we pumped them up around our neck. I saw guys that wore inner tubes around their neck, all right? Hey, it protected their heads. Motorcycle helmets, ski helmets. Who knows what they were wearing, but they were wearing it. But it didn't matter. It was protection of sorts. There was no regulation when we did this. We also did full roll cages. We did frickin' protection for drive shafts. You name it. We did it. And we didn't have to. There was no regulation behind it. It was like, we did it for our own personal protection because, A, bunch of frickin' idiots. But two, and the more important part, is we're just out there to try and have fun. We're not trying to kill ourselves. So, you know, in that circumstance, maybe we should be, I don't know, a little safe. The best part, though, and I mean, this was kind of one of the toppers on the cake, and I wish Mom was still here to back it up. But she drove me. Okay, I'm stuck on a bell. She drove me to a lot of these meets. Never did she actually think alright, how about this? Move this fucking thing out of the way. Done. Drop? Alright, fine, fuck it. Yes, walk into the harrows that are moving. Never once did my mother actually know that I was racing. Basically, it was only the last couple of years that I finally told her that I wasn't watching the races, I was in the races. And you know what the best part is that she told me? She goes, I know. I went, well, if you knew, why the hell were you letting me do it? She goes, well, because I knew that you needed to do it. She says, because you felt in your for you that you were doing something that A, you enjoyed, it kept you busy, and that realistically it was safe. She says you weren't going to kill yourself doing it. She says some of the other ideas you had probably had a higher chance of death, but she says you were safe. So she says, I let you do it. I knew what you were doing. But, oh. She says, yeah, so I know you've kept it quiet for years, but she says, I know what the hell you were doing. She says, even when your dad came home and I drove you out, and he goes, well, where's the kid? Oh, I went watching a rally race. Oh, okay. It wasn't like super secret or anything. It was just kind of like, yeah, well, where's the kid? He's watching a rally race. No, he isn't. He's actually in it. It's just she saw how we were doing things and was like, oh, well, I'm not going to say anything because they're not actually hurting themselves. And you know what? That's exactly what it was. We weren't hurting ourselves. We were 100% fine. And we were having fun doing what we love to do. And that really is all it boiled down to. And even with the rallycross, that was a funny story, how that started. And that was actually a different RCMP than we were used to that started that whole oops. We were told by the RCMP that there was a stretch of pavement near us that we could drag race on. They said, we don't care. There's nobody that ever drives down that road at night. We will basically make sure it's clear. And if, get it out of your system now. If you guys want to drag race, 1 day a week, you're allowed to be on that road to do it. And it's like, holy crap, that's awesome. So we were all out there tuning our vehicles, doing drag races and everything else. And somebody didn't tell one division of the RCMP. And all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. And one of the RCMP beside me went, holy crap, how the hell are we going to explain this? Because technically, this is illegal. And we're all looking at going, what do you mean? You told him it was safe and fine. And we went, well, we're trying to get it out of your system saying that it is fine. So, it's like, okay. So we all got in the vehicles and split off. Skidooshed, right? And one of these guys got behind me and I zipped away, right? And ended up in this guy's yard. And the guy pulls out and ex-RCMP himself. And he goes, so, I hear on the bandwidth that there's a bit of racing going on. And I said, well, you know that there's racing that goes on down this road. He goes, well, yeah, it's a safe place. He says, the RCMP even have it blocked off for you guys to do it 1 night a week. He goes, of course, it's fine. I went, okay. And he says, it's even legal because it's not actually public land. Like, it's actually private land. And I went, what? And he goes, yeah, it's an old airstrip for the fucking bush pilots. I went, so it's not even a road. He goes, no, not even. He says, the cops actually can't hold you or do anything because it's private land. And he says, the reason why they let you do it is because it's not actually on the road. Oh. He goes, yeah, I know all about it. He says, I'm one of the guys that helped pave it. But, oh. He says, so the police that were called were probably trying to push you guys off the land to try to give you tickets. I went, well, isn't that like sort of baiting? He goes, oh yeah, it is. And he says, but they do it. It's a scare tactic. And then he says, but yeah, just, pull in. And we had a good conversation. And he says, yeah, so, you didn't do anything. Like, I know you should, you feel like you need to turn yourself in or do something or whatnot. And I said, well, I kind of feel that way. And he says, you didn't do anything wrong. But, well, I sure feel like I did. He goes, private land. He really didn't. I'm going, so what all was this? And he goes, well, so probably what happened is it was probably one of the new neighbors that probably phoned and said there's a lot of noise and people were drag racing. I went, okay. And he says, so that's why things happen. He says, how many RCMP were actually out there when you guys were doing this? I went, 4 or 5. And he goes, uh-huh. He says, yeah, I know. I'm going, really? And he goes, yep. Yeah. He says, and back then I didn't know it, but in high school there was a thing. There was a program out there, and it was to help promote relations in the community. And what it did is it was a safe zone for teenagers to, just be themselves, be in a safe environment. There was a lot more RCMP and medical staff there than we ever knew. And it was because they were doing it for our benefit. They were literally doing it to go, okay, well, we know they're going to do it anyways. We might as well do it in a safe place. It's a freaking airfield. But no, it was a couple groups, and they eventually got busted because of it. It was a couple guys that were doing it, that were specifically going to these sites and were not happy with the program and were busting teenagers on private land, that's a bit dangerous. But anyways, I got to know this guy a bit, and he actually offered me a job because he was an ex-cop, and he says, I have a rally team now, and looking for new drivers and stuff, and I hear that you're actually pretty good. And I went, well, not bad. I wouldn't say I'm great, but I'm not bad. Yeah, I did probably 100 races or so with them before the team actually unfortunately folded. The guy was getting old. He was ex-cop at that point. I think he was in his 70s when I met him, and then had good 10 years with him, and then all of a sudden one day I get a phone call saying that he passed away, and didn't even know he was in the hospital. Just one day he disappeared, and that was it. The team broke up. I'm still actually in contact with half the team, and they're actually looking at doing another rally team, because we do rallies all around here. They're not really what you call professional. It's kind of like beer league, but we still get roads blocked off. We still have permits to do everything, and we still have medical staff on site and mechanics and stuff like that. I mean, even back in the day when we did ice lake racing, we still had all of that. We didn't want to be the guys that ended up doing stuff and getting hurt. The whole point of it wasn't to get hurt, it was to have fun. And unfortunately, what I'm getting at too is the younger generation now doesn't have that. They had pilot programs with the friggin' police back in the day. Literal pilot programs with them, saying that we could go out and do stuff like this because it was safe. They knew we were going to do it as little teenagers and little shitheads. So why have the negative connotations to it and just let kids be kids? Let them be safe. And I mean, there was quite a few times the police did also give us pamphlets on joining the police force and stuff like that. Especially if they saw some skill in people's driving or whatnot like that, like, you'd be a pretty good beat cop. None of us ever picked up on it until after. It was like, oh, you got a weird interaction, right? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, why was he saying that we would make good cops? I don't know. Later, it made more sense. Best part is it actually really did break that stigma of being, the uniform, the uniform stigma. It broke it, so you didn't fear the police. It was like, oh, these guys are the same as us. That's exactly it. They're the same as us. So anytime there's now a problem, it's nothing for me to go, oh shit, there's a problem. I'll investigate, see if my skills are useful. If not, well, screw it. I'm phoning him anyways. This year there was a bad accident on our road. A neighbor was able to, unfortunately, get there. Well, not really unfortunately. He got there before I did. Took the kid to the hospital. He spun off the road on the ice, took out a tree, and frozen trees, well, they don't move. Unfortunately, it also pushed his engine block of his poor little tiny Ford into the passenger seat through the firewall. So, one, I need to say it, but the kid was definitely going a bit fast on the ice. But two is he was able to get to the hospital in time, but it was like, okay, there's an accident. Clearly this was a recent accident. I better phone. Just in case, maybe, I don't know, stolen vehicle and somebody's on foot somewhere, that they need to be aware of this. So I phoned right away and they went, well, we did hear from, I'm assuming your neighbor, saying that they took a kid to the hospital. It was a fluke accident, nothing major. I went, yeah, well, it's because the icy roads, but I said speed was definitely a factor to end up with this much damage. They went, oh, thanks for the information. I said, well, I took a bunch of pictures, so if there's anything you need from me, just phone me back. Ended up, they needed photos because they were doing an investigation with it. Because once the police came out there and it was snowing so hard that most of the evidence was covered, it was like, uh-oh. So I actually aided in that. But that's what we do. It's because, again, the stigma of the uniform is gone. It's like, these guys are all like friends, so. And I wish there was that relations nowadays. And there isn't. Unfortunately, there is. The relationship and the relations nowadays just aren't there. I understand why policing gets a bad rap. I understand why nobody wants to help. It's because there isn't the programs there used to be. Like, it couldn't have cost that much for the taxpayers back then to have these programs. Well, we did finish 21, even though with a rant. Yeah, push those out of the way. Yep, put one in the river. That's good. Yeah, I know, it was kind of a stupid idea too, of me running originally. It was like, oh, why did I run? That just adds more charges and shit. Let me find out later it was actually it's kind of like a sting operation, you could say. On private land. Actually, in the end, I could see where they were coming from too. Like, if it was the reason why they came in like a wrecking ball and they didn't arrest anyone till after they left the site. Yeah, I understand, because they were basically baiting him. I actually helped with that investigation too in the end. And I've been in more bad accidents than I don't know what. Like, I don't know how many times I've come up on, you know, you work outside of town and you go down a gravel road and whatnot, and all of a sudden, in a snowstorm or something, there is a freaking vehicle on the side, and you're going, what if anybody's in there? Get up to it and go, holy crap, there's somebody in it, 911. Actually, I don't phone 911. I phone the numbers that I've gotten over the years. And more or less, it's like, hey, so and so. Yeah, I need the full medical procedures going on here. We need potentially stars because this one's a bad one. I will be on scene. I'm going to try to administer first aid and see what I can do for triage for you guys before you get here. And it's like, perfect. Just walk us through it. And half the time I just stay on the line. It's like, yep, keep me posted. What's going on? Just keep talking. What's like, especially for if you phone a private number, which is what, either a police number or a medical number or something, right? It's like, okay, well, details matter. Details matter. It is honestly true. Details matter. So if you come up on an accident and the first thing you do is you phone them and say, okay, there's been an accident. Okay, even if they're not on shift, it's like, okay, well, give me as much details as you got. Well, it looks like this. I'm going to take pictures on the way. If there's anyone that's injured, I'm going to start performing CPR or medical or whatever is needed. And it's like, okay, no problem. We appreciate it. Let us know. And they constantly, like, and it calms your brain down too. It's like you can focus a lot more if you're going, okay, well, you come up on an accident. It's like, okay, well, there is say it's a Brown Explorer. It looks like a 3/4 ton Chevy, about a 2009. You don't think about it. You just sort of start blasting out details and stuff, and it's like, okay, well, it helps them. How? Because they have a first witness, basically, of the scene to describe it, and they can use the recording and everything else to figure out what went wrong and yada yada yada. So it actually helps with their investigations quite a bit. And it's like, okay, well, I've got 2 people injured, vehicles rolled over. I'm going to try to get into the vehicle and stabilize their heads as much as I can. It could be spinal injuries. And stuff like that. I mean, there's been a few times, well, one last year, I had to break through the windshield and I stabilized it was a young girl actually, stabilized her head. And, because I mean, you could feel the vertebrae. She had a broken neck. And that was one hell of a wicked rollover too. It looks like they rolled about half a dozen times before they hit a power pole. So they were, the smell of alcohol in the vehicle too was quite strong. And yeah, I busted through the windshield, got in there. I'm not going to say about the other individual, they didn't make it. But the other one, it was, that unfortunately, that was the side that hit the power pole too. It doesn't take much, you just do a quick little pulse. Even if it's mild, you check the other one. If it's a little bit stronger, you go after the one that's stronger. Unfortunately, that's what you got to do. It sucks, but that's what you got to do. And that's what I did. And she's still with us, so. And I mean, I got there, and it was probably 5 minutes after I phoned and got through into the windshield and braced the neck, that all of a sudden personnel started showing up. So I mean, we were in buttfuck nowhere. That is impressive. I'm not gonna lie, that was impressive. And it was, again, snowstorm. It was in the middle of nowhere. I had to do a service call out in the area, and got the service call done, and I said, well, I'm not going on the main roads. I can't see. It's snowing so hard. I can't see. So I darted off on the back roads, went slow. I was only doing about 10 kilometers an hour. Couldn't see anything, and all of a sudden I'd come up and go, oh, this ain't good. And the stars was there and everything. I still can't believe how freaking quick that freaking helicopter shows up. It wasn't even more than 15 minutes after the call went out that thing was landing on the middle of the road. And it was like, it's snowing hard, it's blowing hard. How is this thing flying? Didn't matter. And that was one last year, but that's not the worst one I've seen. I've seen quite a few, and I've been in quite a well, I've never been in an accident that bad myself, but somehow I stumble upon them. And I mean, no matter what, even if I stumble upon them, it's like instant, no issues, just start working. And unfortunately, that's another program that I don't see very much of anymore, and that's first aid in schools. You should honestly teach first aid in schools at a young age, even when you're in grade 6. It is one of the most useful frickin' skills you can ever give someone. I've used them so many bloody times. And it's so simple. I mean, you never really want to be in the circumstance that you ever have to use CPR. Granted. But there has been a few times that I've needed to use CPR. One was a Chinese restaurant, actually. And what's funny is, it's not really funny, but a couple of weeks after mine happened, my uncle did the same thing. It was a Chinese restaurant. All of a sudden, this old Chinese guy, flat on the floor, and wasn't breathing. Flipped him over, realized there was a chunk in his throat, and he basically starved his body of oxygen. I just started pumping and kept his blood pressure up and got what was in his throat out. And then I started to realize that it wasn't really that far in his throat. I don't think that's what caused the asphyxiation. And I was going, something else going on. Anybody got some aspirin? And well, all of a sudden, one old guy goes, yeah, I always keep it just in case of a heart attack. I went, that's exactly what I need. I put it under his tongue and everything. All of a sudden, his pulse stabilized and he was fine. And the old guy beside me went, what the hell just happened? I said, he was having a heart attack. And he goes, are you kidding me? And I went, nope. Your notion, and you maybe thought it was a joke, that having aspirin in your pocket, but I said, it's not a freaking joke. And I said, thanks to you, you might just saved a guy's life. Okay, could you move? So yeah, no, that one was intense for a little bit. Because I could see a blockage in his throat, and of course CPR, the first thing you gotta do is open his mouth and see if there's a blockage, which there was. He was eating when it happened. What can you say? Yeah, it wasn't the blockage that caused it, it was a heart attack. What's really funny is every once in a while I still get a card from him. That was one time. Another time was a buddy. We were out bird hunting, and all of a sudden he dropped to his knees and said, I can't breathe. And I was in the blind, and one of the other buddies called out and said, I think Bud's having a heart attack. And he was, versus the rest of us, way older. And it was like, I'll be right there. Got right there because the rest of them weren't trained. And yep, I started performing CPR on him on the spot till the emergency got there. And yep, number one thing that he had was heart attack symptoms. I don't know how many times I've actually performed CPR, seen an accident, and all of a sudden went, all right, boing, in action. There's been a few times the police were already there, but it's like, how can I help? I'm CPR and first aid trained. And it's like, okay, well, I'm going to direct traffic. If you want to get in there and try to help out, perfect, we can do that. And again, I think it's all thanks part and parcel to the years ago with those programs. It got rid of the stigma of the uniform. So it's a shame nowadays that society has gotten the way it is, where those programs don't exist, where kids can't go out and actually have fun, but be safe. Yeah, okay, we might add a little alcohol back then, but I mean, we were still safe. It wasn't like we were all blasted. If anyone was too stupid, we didn't let them behind the wheel in the first place. Oh, I thought it was a bale on the end. I was going, here's a white thing on my baler. It's going to plop out a bale. I don't want it at the end. Nope, that's just the wrapper. Anyways, I think that's going to be it. I got to go out and take the pup out. There will be a link in the description probably tonight for the Instagram account for Fuzz in Lindor. And that, of course, is the pup and the big cat and their interactions and their pictures. So if you guys are interested in pet photos, that's going to be it. And, of course, as usual and everything else, I do really appreciate everyone coming and watching. And, of course, if you guys are new here or been around for a while and just not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's the best way to support both channels. And, of course, on the YouTube side, that's below the video, and the Huskarl in the bottom right corner. Some say that he was always the police hiding out that was doing the click and bait, as you could say. Little bastard is basically a scam artist, is what I'm thinking. So if you do see him out and about in the real world, smack him upside the head and push that button, would you? And then, of course, also flip over to the Kick side, hit the follow and subscribe over there, as it's a good way to support both channels. And actually, it's the best way to support both channels. And, of course, there's lots of goodies in the description below. I will get up the new Instagram as soon as possible so that everyone can witness our daily lives of having pets, especially bigger pets. I'm assuming Lindor will eventually become a big pet. But yes, thank you, and we will see you guys hopefully tonight. Take care, and thanks for watching.